Hello there, this is Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another STAMPtember project to share with you featuring the exclusive limited edition art impression stamp set called Cool Friends. We're going to be creating a slimline masked winter scene using this darling image and inking up the background with some Distress Oxide inks and then stamping with some of the snowflakes from this stamp set. I have die cut a panel using a slimline nested rectangle die from Simon Says Stamp, and I did this die cut this from Bristol smooth cardstock. I stamped my image with Jellyfish no line ink from Fawn. Went ahead and stamped the image again on masking paper and then fussy cut it and placed it over the image. Then we're creating the snowy border along the bottom edge of our scene with Speckled Egg Distress Oxide. Then we're going to use that same speckled egg as well as some Faded Jeans Oxide for the sky. And it gives such a beautiful soft sky, winter sky for this cute image. I really had it in my mind when I saw this stamp set that I wanted to create a slimline. This would also definitely completely fit an A2 size card as well, but I really wanted to have a lot of quote-unquote white space up high. That space up high is going to be the perfect spot to add a couple of sentiment strips, which is what we're going to do. I noticed when I inked that I didn't create a mask very good for that bottom edge and I left a little white line, so I went ahead and just kind of placed it back over there and inked that back up. So not only did I use the My Favorite Things Drifts and Hills stencil for the drifts along the bottom edge of the card, but I flipped it over and used it as a mask to protect those drifts while I added my inking for the sky. Now, because this is oxide, we want to make sure it's really good and dry because we're going to do some stamping and embossing in the sky. To do this, I took my heat tool and I went ahead and just made sure the background was all the way dry, and then I'm stamping the two snowflakes from the set. I believe there's a trio of snowflakes as well. Maybe, yes, there is, but I'm only using the two individual snowflakes and I'm going to stamp them all over the panel, adding white embossing powder. I have not heat set anything yet. I'm taking acrylic blocks and just stamping and stamping, filling in all those little open spaces. I even went back, separated, I was stamping them together and then I separated them to stamp them individually to fill in any little open spaces, sprinkled on my white embossing powder, and then we're just going to heat set this to create our beautiful background. So really everything so far has come from this stamp set, our stamped snowflakes and our stamped image. I'm going to carefully peel up my stencil now, or my mask, pardon me, and I'm left with my image, which I know is kind of hard to see here, but you can kind of faintly see that nice light gray outline, and we're going to start coloring it in. My biggest tip for coloring today, and any day for that matter, is color your lightest areas first. That's going to be probably skin tones, the snowman, anything light. And the reason is these are water-based markers. You don't want to touch, let's say, red or dark blue and drag that into lighter areas. Sometimes it's inevitable, sometimes it happens, but if possible, if I'm thinking ahead enough, I like to color the lighter areas in first. So I colored in the lady's face, her lips, her tongue, the inside of her mouth with a black pen. We'll even go in and add in the detail of her eyes. Anything I could think of for the skin. And then we will start coloring pretty much the rest of the image. But I will switch over to my snowman and try to color anything in that really, really light frosty blue color next. Or after, I guess. I think I do her jeans first and then I switched, because I don't want to pick up any of that color and drag it into what is supposed to be white, that white of the snow. So there is her face. I know it looks a little funny till we get it colored in. For her jeans, we're using deep blue and blue gray. The colors I'm using for every part of this image are listed across the top of the screen, as well as in the coordinating blog post, which there's a link to underneath the video here on YouTube. The markers color beautifully on Bristol Smooth Cardstock. You can see that they just blend like butter. I love them. I am not using water with them today. If I'm coloring a super detailed image like this, I personally don't use water. I don't have the kind of control that I feel is necessary for that, and it ends up looking like a big watery mess. And so I like to just blend the markers as is. And then if something is too dark, like the snow here for the snowman, I will take the blender and kind of blend that color out and lighten the edges so they're not so harsh, but yet it still gives it that frosty kind of look. We'll do the face next, and I missed part of the face, but I will grab the rest of it. I did up above the mouth, and then I don't know why I forgot to do the rest of the face, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Now, I want to color in the Santa hat on the lady. Oh, I colored in the carrot nose first, but I definitely don't want to start with red. I knew I wanted to use red for her hat, but we are going to color the brim and the pom-pom in first. I did color in the little greenery here for the holly and berries on the snowman hat with light green and yellow green. Bright and colorful is the name of the game here. I'm using all of my favorite bright color combinations today. So here's the rest of that face that I noticed I forgot. So we're just going to grab that really quick and color in the rest of that and draw in the mouth with the black fine tip pen. This is a Tombow multi-liner pen. I love it for drawing in that super fine detail. I think maybe before I get to her hat, I'm going to do her boots, and I wanted them to look like, kind of like Ugg boots, I guess, the basic Ugg boots. So this is mid brown and beige, and then beige and light beige or medium beige up around the cuff. And already it's starting to look cute. Still quite a bit to go though. And then while I have those two colors in my hand, I'm going to just color in that little bit of hair that's peeking out from underneath her hat. So now the brim of the hat, a little bit of light gray, blend it out with the blender, and then we'll do the red. Definitely with the light gray and blender, you're going to want to do those first before anything of the red touches it, because you do not want to drag. Even if you touch the very teeniest tiny bit of the tip of your marker into that red, it just drags it down in there instantly. So I really recommend, especially with anything deep and dark like reds, pink, the dark blues, color anything else light first and then do the dark color. For the scarf around her neck, we're going to go with a little blue and English lavender. Again, I went really bright and colorful here. And then one of the things about the woman is her design on her sweater. Really hard to see, really hard to, even once I colored over it, sometimes the lines of the ink will still show through, and they really didn't. So I'm going to go in and just color the whole sweater pink with peach pink and sugared almond pink. And then over the top, I'm going to grab my stamp set, kind of hold it close to me, and I will draw over that with the carmine red marker to add in the detail. The great thing about this is you're not really following anything underneath. So I like to just kind of give enough of the illusion of that. And I mention it here because you can't see the outline, but I think I was able to replicate it close enough to where it looks really, really cute and it works. So I'm just kind of following my stamp set, just drawing in those little diamond shapes and little dot detail and all the little things here, look how much the pattern for her sweater adds to the overall finished design. So stinking cute. Then around the cuffs and around the bottom hem of her sweater, I'm going to do a little red-green combination, kind of like she has an ugly Christmas sweater on. And then don't forget up around the cuff of the hand that's wrapped around the snowman. And I definitely should have taken my advice and done the green before the red, because it did get into some of those areas along the hem of her sweater, but oh well, it's small, so there's that. Now, I accidentally forgot to turn my video camera on for the next part, so pretend I colored this. That's going to be the jacket on the snowman with turquoise green and green shadow, and the scarf with light green and yellow green. A little bit of peach pink and sugared almond pink for the detail on the scarf. And then I drew the buttons in with turquoise green down the front and added a mid-green or mid-brown, pardon me, branch for the hand. For the sunglasses, we're using gray and light gray. And then drawing the eyes back in with a black fine tip pen. For the hat, we're going to go peach pink and sugared almond pink. And then we are going to add a little band around the hat with turquoise green. Color in the berries for the holly and berries with carmine red. And that is it for the coloring, you guys. Look how cute this image is. If you are a fan of art impressions, I think you're going to love this. I always love coloring them each year for the STAMPtember event. I think they're so super fun. Look at all the markers I used. I know I always try to say, you know, I keep it to a minimum if possible, but man, today, that's a lot of markers. So I just thought I'd kind of show a little grouping there of all of them I used. We're going to stamp some sentiments now, and I ended up using You're the Coolest and There's No One Like You. And I'm stamping them on 2 different colors of blue cardstock. So the first one is some Moondust Lawn Fawn cardstock. And actually I played around a little bit with this. So kind of ignore the dark blue there. This is the, and then this cardstock is Blue Jay for the There's No One Like You. The first line of text I played around with a lot because I thought I'd use a different sentiment, and I ended up using You're the Coolest instead. I couldn't pick just one. There's a lot of great sentiments in this set. Really quick. To my coolest friend, there's no one like you, you're the coolest, have an ice day, chillin' with the cool kids, love never melts, live like there's snow tomorrow, and to the coolest person I know. So lots of great sentiments here. I love that. I love that you can mix and match them. I love that you can pick the one that works for the recipient you're sending this to. Really cute, cute stamp set. Once I have both of my sentiments stamped and embossed in white, I'm going to die cut them with Simon Says Stamp Nested Banners dies, put foam adhesive on the back, and we're going to be positioning them in the upper part of the card. So that part of the card that I call the quote-unquote white space doesn't have the busy image part of the scene down below. It does have some snowflakes, but other than that, nothing. And I'm going to place my sentiment. Now, it's really hard to gauge if it's straight or not. I'm going to take a T-square ruler, and you can see it's totally not. So I carefully peeled it up, and luckily I did tear a little bit, but it's going to be hidden underneath the strip. I'm going to take my T-square ruler, line up my sentiment with this for perfect placement, and that is so much better. So just a little tip, if you too struggle getting your sentiment strips straight, a T-square ruler can be your best friend. And then we're going to pop the other one right on top. Now, at this point, I will admit, I was like, this is my last STAMPtember project for 2020. I'm done. And I tell you this because my daughter was here and she was laughing at me. And then I said, nope, can't do it. I have to add some other stuff. So we are going to add a little heart funfetti because you guys know me. I love my little hearts. So a little pink heart. And then I want to add some little snowflakes, those little clay snowflakes. I think they're from Honeybee Stamps. They're from my stash. I liked those teeny tiny snowflakes that are dimensional mixed in. And a little Nouveau crystal drops in this great silver glitter. So pretty. And just to the center of the snowflakes adds that little silver touch of sparkle. And I knew it. That was what I needed to do. I felt like the card was totally finished then, just with those little teeny tiny finishing details. We, of course, placed the panel on a white slimline card base that measures 3.5 by 8.5. And our Art Impressions card featuring the 2020 exclusive stamp set called Cool Friends is all finished. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this Winter Scene Slimline Masked card featuring the Simon Says Stamp and Art Impressions exclusive limited edition stamp set. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Simon Says Stamp STAMPtember that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thanks for joining me, and we'll catch you next time.